The name is Rick Drogo. I don't need promo. 1v4, I knock your whole squad solo. That was crazy. Crash the Party, episode 23. Oh, man. Today has been a beautiful day. You know, I woke up today. I didn't get a lot of sleep. I woke up early. I couldn't go back to sleep. I tried. I knew I had a long day ahead of me, a lot of things to do. And I said to myself, you're great. You're amazing. God loves me. I'm healthy. I'm going to have a great day. I made a decision right then I was going to have a good day. That's how it works. So I got already a couple things counting against me, going against me of what I planned to do today as soon as I woke up. That's not going to stop me from having a good day, buddy. I persisted. Anything that comes my way that looks like an obstacle turns into an opportunity. And that is the difference between me and so many people is when something comes up that looks like a problem, I don't look at it like it's a problem. It's an opportunity for me to figure out something else. You know, I've always loved to play games, and that's really kind of how I look at life. I like this game called Dark Souls, and all the time you'll walk into a room in Dark Souls 2 especially, and there's just 20 of the same guys standing there. You're like, what the heck? What am I supposed to do? I'm about to get ganked by 20 of the same guy. How can I beat this? But you just have to persist, and you'll get it. You'll figure it out. And I would like that. I'd like that challenge in the game. So real life, what's the difference? Is when I go to work and we tear the roof off and all of the decking is destroyed. It's all sucks. Guess what? This is an obstacle to get, okay, a new obstacle has entered the chat, the arena, and now this is something I got to deal with. No, it's an opportunity. I get to deal with it. Because so many people don't have the opportunities that I have today. They're not in the position that I'm in. So I need to be grateful for what I have. If I'm not grateful, then I'm going to lose it. I believe that. That's how I believe the universe works. People who aren't grateful for what they have and they don't cherish it and they don't take care of it, you don't flower what you got, it dies. So, anyways, I'm popping off real early. I'm really like that. And if you've been watching for 22 episodes, then you know that. You know I'm really like that, and thank God. So today, we're not going to do a long video. We are going to so I've had some questions about the Strait of Hormuz, kind of not understanding it, and today we're going to watch a quick video. It's about 9 minutes long, and it's going to explain the Strait of Hormuz like you're 5, because that's what I need. Oops. And we're going to watch it. It's by Capital Case. I've watched quite a few of their videos. I like them. Good stuff. It's funny. And let's check it out.
On February 28th, 2026, the United States and Israel launched nearly 900 strikes on Iran in 12 hours. Military bases, missile sites, nuclear facilities, one of the most devastating opening salvos in modern history. Iran's response didn't come with missiles. It closed a gap of water 21 miles wide. In the weeks that followed, oil surged past $126 a barrel. Iraq shut down its oil fields because there was nowhere to put the crude. Qatar declared force majeure, a legal term that simply means we cannot fulfill our contracts because the world has changed. Pakistan closed its schools to save electricity. The IEA released the largest emergency oil reserve in its history. It bought 4 days. Every one of those tankers is full. The oil inside them is worth billions, and none of it is moving, because one country understood something the rest of the world had been quietly ignoring. You don't need to win a war to paralyze the global economy. You just need to close the right door. The Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran to the north and Oman to the south. At its narrowest point, it's 21 miles across, roughly the distance from central London to Heathrow Airport. Through that gap passes roughly 20 million barrels of oil every single day.
Wow.
That's 1/5 of everything the world consumes.
20 million in a day? 20 million barrels. That is crazy. Think about that number. 20 million barrels in one day.
Saudi Arabia's oil exits through it. Iraq's, Kuwait's, Qatar's liquefied natural gas, the fuel that heats European homes and powers Asian factories.
Wow.
All of it funnels through this one corridor before reaching the open ocean. There is no meaningful alternative route. The Gulf.
Look at this. All these areas right here, they all need to put it out right here. Now, I guess I wonder what stops them from driving down here if they need to get rid of it. Or maybe driving it here. Is that not a thing? These guys can't think outside the box? Or maybe the streets of Iran and Saudi Arabia run lawless. Renegades.
Is essentially a dead end, a body of water with one exit. Pipelines that bypass the strait exist, but they were built decades ago and can handle a fraction of what normally flows through Hormuz. Nobody built more, because for most of the last century, the strait was open. Why spend billions solving a problem that didn't seem to exist? China gets 1/3 of its oil through this passage. Japan gets roughly 70% of its total oil supply from the Gulf, almost all of it through Hormuz. South Korea, Taiwan, India, the same story. Europe gets a significant share of its natural gas from Qatar through the same water. But oil is only part of it. 1/3 of the world's fertilizer trade moves through the strait. Fertilizer feeds crops. Crops feed people. When this passage closes, fertilizer prices spike, which means food prices follow in countries nowhere near the Middle East for people who have never heard of the Strait of Hormuz. And it's not just fertilizer. Helium for hospitals, aluminium for manufacturing, the raw materials for plastics and petrochemicals that show up in almost every product on Earth. The Strait of Hormuz isn't an oil story. It's a civilization story. A farmer in Bangladesh, a factory worker in Vietnam, a commuter in Munich, none of them have ever seen this water. None of them know it exists. All of them depend on it staying open. All of it flowing through a gap one country can close with a single order. Every government on Earth knows this. Every military has wargamed it. And nobody has done anything about it. Because it turns out the modern world isn't built on innovation and complexity. It's built on a 500-year-old hostage situation. In 1507, a Portuguese explorer named Afonso de Albuquerque found a glitch in the map of the world. He realized he didn't need to conquer an entire region to own its wealth. He just needed to own the exit. He sailed straight to the island of Hormuz and seized it. Control the door, control the trade. The Portuguese held it for a century. Then the Persians and the British East India Company pushed them out. New flags. Same logic. If you own the door, the world has to ask you for permission. By the time Britain finally left, exhausted and overstretched, two powers moved in to fill the gap: Iran and Iraq. Both large, both ambitious, both convinced they should be the dominant force in this waterway. In the 1980s, they fought a grinding 8-year war. Both sides attacked oil tankers in the Gulf, trying to cut off each other's income. Outside navies deployed escorts. Ships burned. The strait stayed open, barely. What makes the geography so significant is this: Iran doesn't just border the strait, it controls islands inside it. Territory sitting in the middle of the world's most important shipping lane, positioned to monitor and, when necessary, challenge everything that moves through. You cannot secure a door when your enemy lives in the doorframe. For 40 years, Iran has lived there, and they know exactly where the hinges are. But the most powerful navy on Earth is sitting 30 minutes away. It has been there for decades,
Wow, that's crazy.
specifically because of this waterway, specifically for moments like this one. So, why didn't it work? The United States Fifth Fleet is based in Bahrain, 30 minutes from the strait. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, submarines. By any measure, one of the most powerful forces ever assembled in a single body of water. When the crisis hit, they moved immediately. But the Strait of Hormuz isn't built for a navy like this. It's a knife fight in a dark room. Swarms of fast attack boats blurring into radar clutter. Plastic mines cheap enough to scatter by the hundreds, designed specifically to hide from sonar. Securing the lane takes weeks. Recontaminating it takes hours. And even if they cleared every inch of it, the tankers still wouldn't move. Because the real lock on this door isn't military. It's one phone call, in a grey office building in London. The moment a conflict begins in the Gulf, underwriters review their exposure. They raise premiums. And if one incident happens, one ship goes down, they pull coverage entirely. Without insurance, no commercial captain on Earth will sail into that water. Not because they're cowards. Because the ship isn't insured. The cargo isn't insured. The crew isn't insured.
Wow.
There is no policy. The US Navy can clear the lane. It can escort every tanker through. But it cannot make a London insurance firm write a policy on a vessel sailing through an active war zone. The lane is open. We have ships in the strait. My captains won't go through it. We'll escort them. Who insures them if they don't make it? This is the trap, and Iran has understood it for decades. You don't need to physically block the water. A handful of mines in one narrow lane accomplishes most of it. Even a rumor of mines is enough. The market doesn't wait for a ship to sink. It panics at the first shot. The ships stop, and the pressure to end this lands, not on the countries involved in the conflict, but on the ones who had nothing to do with starting it. Japan, South Korea, Taiwan. None of them fired a missile at anyone. None of them had a position in this fight.
Oh, I know.
But their economies were running on a clock. The Global Strategic Oil Reserve, the emergency buffer built for exactly this scenario, was already being drawn down. Fast. The world had enough to buy days, not weeks. On one side of the world, the most powerful navy in history was sitting 30 minutes from the problem. Engines running, weapons ready, completely unable to fix it. On the other side, governments with no ships, no territory, and no part in this conflict were watching their reserves drain and waiting for someone else to blink. Nobody had a move. Everyone needed one. At some point, it always reopens. Iran's own economy runs on oil revenue, and Iran's oil exits through the same water it just closed. The leverage works both ways. So the crisis ends, the tankers move again, and almost immediately, the hard questions about how the world ended up this exposed get quietly set aside, because fixing it costs tens of billions of dollars and solves a problem that most of the time doesn't exist. When the strait is open, which it is the vast majority of the time, the oil is cheap, the shipping is reliable, and spending that kind of money on a crisis that might not come for another decade is a very hard case to make to anyone holding a budget. So the world keeps taking the cheaper option, which is trust that the door stays open. The countries that hold leverage over the strait are not the countries that depend on it most. The countries that depend on it most have no territory here, no claim to this water, no practical way to change the geography. The strait has been contested for 500 years. Someone tries to control the door. Someone else tries to force it open. And the world, trapped in the middle, just watches. The tankers move again. They always do. The geography doesn't.
Wow. Well, we knew that was the case. That's crazy. And that's why we're here. The question is, how much longer is it going to go on? You know, I'm wondering if President that's it, didn't call the Teflon Don and say, you got to come talk to me. Come holler at your boy. Maybe Trump isn't going over there. Maybe it's not his idea. He's going to see that boy, SJP, Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping. All right. I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to show you the clip of the day, which I might have to go to clip of the week because finding a clip of the day, it wasn't easy. And, you know, I couldn't spend all day looking for it. I was very busy, and I think we're going to go clip of the week, but I said that I'd have clip of the day, so I brought one. All right? It's not from today, though. This is actually a scene from India right before COVID started. Okay, so it's going to show you a video of what India looked like with its pollution in December of 2019. And then it's going to show you what it looked like after the lockdown. It's crazy. Check this out. Right, look at all that pollution. You can't even see anything. Boom. This is April 20th, 2020. That's crazy. Not even 6 months later. This is 2019, right before COVID. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh my gosh. I wonder what it looks like now. That's crazy, that kind of pollution. I thought people didn't really drive over there. Anyways, that's it. That's the clip of the day. And, I mean, we did it. We crashed the party. There's nothing more to it than to do it. I'll show you how to get down. Look, if there's one thing about me, if there's a job that needs to be done, I'm going to show you how to get in and get out. All right? Remember, I got one rule, and that's always do the next right thing. That's a compass. That's how you can get through life. You focus on what's the next right thing to do. Don't know what to do? Big decision to make? What's the next right thing? Boom. Decision made. Thank you so much for spending that time with me. I love you, and I'll see you again tomorrow.